Thank you for joining us tonight for StageOne Families Theater's Theater for Everywhere Artist Panel, exploring making theater for young audiences during the pandemic. I'm Nefertiti Burton, chair of the Department of Theater Arts at the University of Louisville, and I'll be joined in tonight's conversations by actors Megan Massey, Sydney Edwards, Tony Milder, and Xavier Harris. Before we begin, we acknowledge with respect as a non-native person that the lands on which we stand, live, and learn are the traditional territory of the Shawnee, Cherokee, Chickasaw, and Osage nations. We acknowledge that Indigenous peoples have always called this land home as they do today. Actors, will you join me?
Hi there, everyone. My name is Tony Milder. I played the narrator / host / myriad of other characters in Monster of Mine. And currently I'm lucky enough to be working as a full-time actor, getting ready to shoot my first film this summer.
Hey everybody, my name is Xavier Harris. I played Jason in The Right Shoes. I am also currently a full-time actor and just got done wrapping up my term with the professional training company at Actors Theater of Louisville.
Hi everyone, my name is Sydney Edwards. I played Jamie in Monster of Mine. I'm an actress, singer, and I'm also the director of the African American Theater program at the University of Louisville.
Hi, I'm Megan Massey. I played Hannah in The Right Shoes. I am an actress, a writer, a director, and I'm also the director of New Faces at Heyman Talent Agency.
So Megan, what was it like to be a working actor in 2020?
Well, it was very exciting to get to work on a stage during 2020. As everyone knows, the pandemic shut down theaters. And I will say, in addition to being super grateful, it was a little nerve-wracking. We were wearing our masks in rehearsal, but we were still unsure about so many things. So while we were very excited to be there, there was definitely some anxiety, not wanting to get any of your castmates sick or take anything home from your castmates or work or whatever. So exciting, but a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Sydney, how was it for you?
It was definitely everything Megan said. And I think it also depends on like which part of 2020 we're talking about, right? Because at the beginning of the year, things were fine. And then everything shut down all at once. And that was a very scary time as well. I know that me, as well as so many other of my colleagues and friends, had to stop mid-production, some of them, and plans that they had lined up, fell through until things got better. So very tumultuous time, in even feeling very blessed to be able to get back on the stage in the fall, but very nervous as well.
Xavier, tell us about the process of performing for a virtual audience in Theater for Everywhere versus a live audience.
Well, I think like with a virtual audience, with a live audience, you have almost a sort of energy that kind of comes with having a live audience in front of you. And when you're performing, you can kind of feed off of that energy and those responses that they give during the show, which then feeds you as a performer, which I love and I live for a lot. But with virtual theater, not having that space can sometimes, you just have to find that energy in another way or channel that energy within you, instead of having to rely so much on the audiences. But what it does bring a virtual performance is it's still theater. So you're still performing the same way you would, but now you have to play for these cameras and a little bit of these different angles to make sure that you are giving enough face for your audiences to see when it's being performed virtually. So audience is there, just inside of a box.
Tony, how about for you?
It was a different experience, obviously. I do love performing in front of a live audience, but pretty much anybody that knows me knows that I live my daily life as if I'm performing in front of an audience anyway, whether it be real or imaginary. So the one thing I really did notice was that there was a lot less pressure, it felt like, not having the audience there. We had a lot of things on our show like coin flips, and I always like to brag about Sydney and our other actor, Gracie. They had to do that jump rope sequence that we were so nervous about in rehearsals, but they never missed ever, rehearsal or on the performance. I can say it now because we don't have to worry about the superstition. They nailed it every single time. And part of it, I think, was because we were more relaxed.
So many of you played kids in these plays. Are there specific things you do as an actor to prepare to play someone younger than yourself, Sydney?
Goodness, I mean, to play any role, you have to prepare, right? No matter what you do, but specifically with younger roles, I definitely had a hard time. Keith McGill was our director, and he's like, Sydney, you gotta loosen up, because I was living in my ballet training for whatever reason during this rehearsal process, and so like, Sydney, you gotta loosen up, and you have to just kind of think about. I think about when I was a kid, and just thinking of things in the moment, being a lot less conscious of what my body is doing is kind of how I just have to let go to play a kid. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Megan, how did you find that kid in you for this show?
Well, definitely thinking about, like Sydney's saying, your body. Kids aren't, there are lots of different types of kids, especially in the right shoes. I feel like we had 3 very specific characters. So my character was a little bit more reserved than I was as a kid. So trying to find not being super self-conscious, but also how does a self-conscious kid move, or what are they thinking? When I watch it back as an adult, I go, my goodness, my forehead's moving a lot, but I'm not thinking about that, on stage. So really just letting those inhibitions go, thinking about what is the physicality of Hannah, and also too maybe thinking about vocal placement too, because little kids' voices are higher. They've got different things going on. So thinking about voice and body, and then just letting those inhibitions go.
Okay, my turn.
Ice cream soda, lemonade punch. Tell me the name of my honey bunch. A, B, C, D, E.
Oh.
E. Emerson.
I don't even know an Emerson.
Yes, you do. 3rd grade. Tall. Okay, my turn.
No, I didn't get a real turn.
Yes, you did.
Did not.
Yeah, did too. Quit being such a crybaby.
I am not a crybaby.
R2, it's my turn.
No, I get another try. Come on, I get 2 turns and then you get 2.
Whoa, what'd you do to your hair?
What's that thing on your head?
Yarmulke?
Lamaka?
Looks like you put your finger in a socket.
Ignore him. Boys are stupid.
Not nice.
I like your hair. It's different. You changed it for picture day?
Yeah.
Yeah, last year, my school pictures were the worst.
You want to trade some of your goldfish for some of my mini Oreos?
Okay. Ma'am, you want some goldfish also?
Yes, but I don't have anything to trade, though.
Oh, that's okay. You can just have some. We can trade tomorrow, maybe.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
So anyway, where did you get your barrettes? I got mine from Claire's because that's where grown-up girls who are like 16 go and get lots of their stuff.
Baby shark doo 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 doo. Baby shark doo 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 doo. Baby shark doo 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 doo. Baby shark. Baby what?
Xavier, what techniques or special tricks do you have for preparing to be a child in a play?
Well, our director in the right shoes, Andrew Harris, gave me a pretty good tip about playing a kid. And he basically told me that a child's thoughts are very fragmented. They're not as seamless as an adult's thoughts can be. So he was like, literally every statement, every idea, thought that a children has is like a brand new discovery. So they definitely don't know what they're going to say next. And so really working on breaking up those ideas and those thoughts when I spoke. Like every time, yeah, I have no idea what I'm gonna say next, but the next idea is really good, and so this part is really what I'm gonna go over here. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And just play with that a lot more, especially with a 7-year-old.
Tony, how about you?
Oh, I think, the only person to not play a child in this one. But what I love about StageOne in general is that they always encourage actors we don't talk down to kids. We don't play down to kids. Kids are full human beings, full feelings. It's just like Xavier said, probably the first time that they're feeling those feelings. So they're very new and you don't quite know what to do with them. And so you just kind of got to figure it out as it goes. I love that about this theater.
Yeah. So, Megan, what was the rehearsal process like for these plays?
So the first few days of the rehearsal process, we actually did over Zoom. So we read the scripts, we talked among the cast, did some table work, and then when we got into the space, we kept our blocking, socially distanced, and we had our masks on. We would fill out a daily health report, get our temperatures taken, following all of the guidelines. And then when we moved into the space, we were in the Baumhart Theater where StageOne normally performs. And so we kind of ran through that with the cameras, and it was really crazy because we opened and closed on the same day, which is a very weird feeling for theater. But it was a really good process, and it was interesting to me to see how well the Zoom aspect fits into like a typical rehearsal process.
Was your process similar or different?
Yeah, very similar. I think one of the things that stuck out to me first is that the entire process was only 3 weeks long. Like, we had to limit exposure, but that's also like a really quick time to put something together, especially when, pre-COVID, you're used to having 6 weeks for a project, right? In a lot of circumstances. So the truncated time, wearing those masks, for every rehearsal, except for when we were being filmed, would pose a very interesting challenge because I found myself having to really pay attention to my fellow actors' body language because I can't see half of your face, right? So really paying attention to what we're saying with our bodies, and it even helped us with our diction because we have to be heard through those masks. So they were challenges that I think are helpful in the long run, but definitely a different experience.
Tony, in Theater for Everywhere, what was your biggest lesson? What will you carry with you from this experience?
There's so many lessons. It was such a strange, wonderful, interesting experience. I would say my big overarching lesson is just that art will happen. It's going to happen. It's going to endure. We dealt with a lot of changes this year, like have been mentioned, doing things over Zoom. We as theater artists tend to be very touchy-feely, physical people, and we can't do that suddenly, but the process still happened. So it was very amazing to see these artists come together and under these limitations still make something that was just as beautiful and just as entertaining and enlightening as everything else that StageOne produces.
Xavier, what was your biggest lesson?
Just to never get rid of my inner child. Like they're playing these kids and bringing them to life. There's something very fantastic to be had about being able to be in tune with a 7-year-old child inside of you, though you're 26, 30s, whatever, that you can still have that connection to yourself when you were a kid and bring that out, especially being a creative and an artist, like having that childlike curiosity and discovery in the world is something to really hold on to.
Megan, what will you carry with you from this experience?
I love all of the people that I work with at StageOne, so I always love meeting and working with new people. I knew Xavier. I knew our playwright, Keith McGill. I knew the other character, Mika there. I mean, I knew everybody, but I'd never gotten a chance to work with them. So with every show that I get to do, I love to take the new friendships and relationships with me. And something that I think Theater for Everywhere hopefully will have a lasting legacy is that, sometimes your family that doesn't live here, they don't get to see in shows. They can't always travel in. So the accessibility and being able to share that with people across the country or even in foreign countries has been really great to get to share those experiences with the folks that I'm working with on stage, and then friends and family that are maybe outside of the region.
Sydney, what about you?
I think that the biggest word that I'll take with me is like adaptability, right? I feel like this company was one of the first that I really knew of that was like, okay, we're really going to pivot this thing, and we can't do it the way that we usually do it, but we're going to find a way to do it. And we found a way to do it safely and a way that made it accessible to others. So being able to adapt and just these crazy circumstances and just how fulfilling it is to meet that challenge is what I'm going to take with me.
Uh-huh. Well, speaking of pivoting, Tony, were there any special COVID rehearsal tricks that you learned?
I guess, yeah, everything was very interesting. I think it's kind of been said before, but we did have masks on for the entirety of our rehearsals, except for when we actively performed for the cameras. We always try to stay 6 feet apart in rehearsals, and even in blocking. You'll notice if you really pay attention, which we tried to make it look natural, but if you pay attention to it on stage, we rarely get close to each other. So that's just another challenge that we had to deal with. We took temperatures at doors. We had so much sanitizer everywhere, and even the timing between our rehearsals, because all of these shows were rehearsing at the same time, but not in the same time slot. So like Monster of Mine was never in the same room as The Right Shoes. We never saw each other as two different casts, which, I mean, I'm friends with all these people and I miss them so much. But it was an important safety protocol that StageOne did implement. And, I, in the end, am very happy that it happened.
Mm-hmm. Megan, did you learn any special COVID rehearsal tricks?
Just an awareness, keeping the space, and also too, I think being mindful when you're out and about. You didn't want to necessarily do anything that would jeopardize the beautiful work that you were doing. So just bringing that extra level of awareness and care for those around us, and hopefully everybody sort of took that with them from this past year.
Mm-hmm. Xavier, what was your favorite costume, props, scenery, sound, or lighting in your production?
My favorite prop was the goldfish. Just the goldfish and singing Baby Shark with the goldfish in my hand, playing as if it was a little shark or a little fish. That was my favorite thing to do. And then always, of course, eat it afterwards.
Cindy, did you have a favorite prop or a favorite piece in your show?
Oh, yes. So we had the huge monster puppets, and I have never worked with anything like that in my life. And it's on my head, and it's on my arms, and it's huge and colorful and big. And I just felt like this freedom to be so monstrous in it. Like, it was such a freeing feeling to play a monster, right? And to have that supported by my costume in like this huge, beautiful way. I definitely felt like I was on Sesame Street or something, but they were just beautiful. Like, Allison designed them so beautifully, and they were so much fun to play with.
Thank you. Tony, would you please share a piece of advice for new performers and those who are just starting their pro careers?
Yeah. I always tell people to just study everything. Even if you don't plan on using it, study singing, study acting, study dance. Even if you feel like you're bad at it, something is going to come in handy and you will improve in some way. You would be surprised how many plays have singing or dancing in them, or both. And just the knowledge of your body and your voice that will serve your acting is just... It's so important to have that instrument in tune in order to express yourself well.
Mm-hmm. Xavier, any advice?
Yeah, this would go along the lines of what I said earlier about the inner child and curiosity. Like, just stay curious as a performer. Try to discover new things, keep learning, talk to people, be open to meeting new people and just being in new areas. Researching stuff, because I believe like all of that different information and relationships just hones you and builds you even more as a performer, different experiences. So yeah, just be open, be curious, and be present.
Thank you. Megan, thoughts from you?
I would say, I say this a lot actually, and I say it to myself still. Don't tell yourself no. There are other people that get paid a lot of money to do that. So don't do it to yourself for free. So we will tell, oh, I can't do that, or ooh, Shakespeare's too hard, or oh, I can't really sing, or oh, you know, don't downplay yourself. Like, go for things. Like Tony and Xavier are saying, try new things. You never know. You don't have to be perfect at the first thing that you try. You don't even have to be perfect the 15th time you do something. But keep going. Be a good support system for yourself, and find people around you that are also going to lift you up. And don't be afraid to try new things and fail beautifully.
Thank you. Sydney, how about you?
Oh, my quick little tips are: one, definitely know that this is what you want to do, because it's not an easy road by far. Lots of ups and downs in a career in performance and a career in the arts. So be prepared for that. But also be kind to yourself throughout your journey, and don't compare your journey to anyone else's journeys, because it's going to look different for everybody.
All right. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for tonight. Thank you. How about audience questions? Are there any questions from the audience? LaShondra Hood asks, if you were auditioning for Theater for Everywhere again, would you audition for the same role or a different one? What do you think, Tony?
So I was lucky enough to be a part of the workshops for all of these plays. So I got to read them, and honestly, I would audition for almost every part. I was so jealous of Sydney and Gracie being in those monster outfits every day, and they knew it and they rubbed it in my face. I loved the script. They did not. They were super nice to me. I loved the script for The Right Shoes. I loved all of those kids. Like Megan said, they are so real. And I mean, who doesn't love goldfish, Xavier? Like, it would be such an honor to eat those on stage. And I'm so jealous watching you.
So Xavier, which one would you audition for?
I said it over and over again to myself, that I would love to be in Monster of Mine, just to be in these big old costumes and just play. That's what I used to do when I was a kid. I used to always do that. I don't know if y'all know Reptar. Was it Reptar from Rugrats? Yes. I used to be all in. I used to love doing that kind of stuff. So being in Monster of Mine, I would have been a dream come true.
Megan?
I loved the play I ended up in, The Right Shoes by Keith McGill. I love both of the female characters. Megan Adair played the character that most resembled me as a child. So it was interesting to see the type A, really worried and I gotta be perfect, played by somebody else, and to play the foil to that. So I'm really happy with where I ended up. So I would probably stay in the same show, but be happy with either character.
Okay. And Sydney?
I'm a yes-ander. I can do this and this, I love my big puppets. But I think if I could audition for something else, I would try to be maybe Miss Big Hair Don't Care, just for that costume. Oh my God, it's that wig, that purple wig. I want to wear that. Just for the wig.
All right. Well, do we have any more questions from the audience? Oh, here's one. If you could meet your character in real life, what would you want to ask of or say to them, Tony?
Where did you get that remote? I want that. I would love to pause life and just have some conversations with some select people in my daily life. So I think that would be a number one for me.
Okay. Megan, how about you?
I would say, oh, Hannah, darling, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. All of our characters were so stressed out and worried. You're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. And I would give her a hug.
Xavier, what would you say to that 7-year-old?
I would tell little Jason that he's such a bright soul. He's such a caring person, and that all of that energy that you bring is going to come right back to you. And now that picture is up, that SpongeBob shirt is awesome. Don't ever get rid of it. When you get older, give it as a hand-me-down to your son or your daughter.
And last but not least, Sydney, what would you say to your character?
I think I would say to my character that she's really lucky that she has somebody around to teach her how to deal with her monsters, because not everybody gets that kind of care and love, and it's important to know that. So I'm glad that you're learning it at a young age.
Huh. All right. Okay, if we don't have any more audience questions, any more? Okay. I guess that's all we have time for. So I'm going to have to say thank you to Megan and Sydney and Tony and Xavier for sharing your discoveries and your process. And thank you to the sponsors of Theater for Everywhere. You made this exciting process possible. For those of you at home, if you haven't seen Theater for Everywhere, it's available for streaming purchase for only a few more days, only until June 2nd. So check it out today to learn more about what we've been talking about tonight. Thank you all and have a wonderful night.